how can you take your congregation on a complete emotional journey? That is what we're talking about today on Dr. Doug's Tips for Writing Great LDS Church Music. This is my Daily Tips program here. We're looking at hymn 105, Master, the Tempest Is Raging. A lot of fun things happening in this hymn, but I really want to focus in on a part on the second page where we get this like total journey, and it's kind of funny that it's in the C major because it takes us from C to shining sea. Ha ha ha. Okay, but let's take a look at this. Whether the wrath of the storm-tossed sea, or demons, or men, or whatever it be, no waters can swallow the ship where lies the master of ocean and earth and skies. All right, what's really fun about this is the harmony helps us, the chords, helps us to feel like we're traveling, like we are achieving these levels. We're like almost like passing through gates on our journey. And we start with this C major chord, and we end with a C major chord. So the journey comes full circle. But in these few measures, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 measures, we get like a whole like story cycle. It feels like a really complete journey. Let's zoom in and see what's happening here. First, let me draw your attention to the melody, okay? So we start with E, then we go up to F, or demons to G, or A. So we're going up E, F, G, A, B, C, D, up to E at the end. So the tune is just going up and up and up and up. It's like the winds, they keep blowing and blowing and blowing until it's almost like the master holds up his hands. Fermata, peace, be still. We don't quite have peace, be still yet till the end down here, but the fermata sort of pauses, almost like I can imagine Jesus putting out his arm and pausing the winds, pausing the waves. Okay, so the tune is helping us on this journey from the low E all the way up to the high E. Now, while it's doing that, the bass starts a third below, a tenth below. The interval between E and C is a tenth, which is a third plus an octave. And then it goes up to D, so it's still in thirds, then up to E, then up to F, so it's following suit. Then it leaps down and leaps up. Then it leaps down another third and leaps up a fourth, just like it did here. We have a leap down of a third, we have a leap up of a fourth, and then a leap down of a third, and then a leap up of a fourth. And then it stays on A, goes down to G, stays on G, and then jumps to C. So this bass line is working very closely with the melody to increase the rising tide as well, okay? Now it changes. Okay, so that is a cool little trick. As the tune is going up, often the supporting roles, and the bass line in this case, are also going up. And since the melody is getting to quite a high climactic spot, the bass as well reaches that climactic spot. And when the lower voices get really high, the intensity really grows. So that's a really cool moment. Okay, so each of these elements is adding to the rising tide of emotion in this section. Now, the last bit, which is the real gem I want to focus on, is these chromatic chords. Okay, so first we have a C major chord. We're in the key of C major. Then we get a G major chord. It's a G7 with a D in the bass. Then, so that's a dominant chord. That's a dominant seventh chord. And it wants to go to C, and it does go to C, but it goes to a C with another dominant. A C dominant 7. That's why there's a B flat. wants to go to F, which it does. And then that chord changes. We get a D major chord, which then goes to a G chord. That's a fifth away. So G to C, let me use a different color. G7 to C7, it's a relationship of a fifth. 5, 1. Okay, but then C7 to F is also a relationship of a fifth. 5, 1. All right. Then it jumps down to D quickly, and D goes to G. And guess what? D to G, especially with that F sharp in there, is another 5, 1 relationship. 5, 1. Then it leaps down to this E, and the E is E7. And in a similar way, this becomes a 5, 1 relationship with this A minor chord. So we get another 5, 1, but this time it's 5, 1. And then we get the actual 5 chord G again, which is the final C, which is the final 5, 1 kind of a sound. So this repetitive 5, 1 kind of a sound is really fun, but it's not the same 5, 1 every time. If it was the same 5, 1, it would be G, C, G, C, G, C over and over and over again. But instead, the first one we get is G, C, but then C becomes a 5, C, F, and then D becomes a 5, D, G, and then E becomes a 5, E, A, and then G becomes the 5 again, G, C. So we get this fifth relationship again and again and again. And each time we get it, it's a dominant 7 chord. So the first time is this G7. Second time is C7. The next time, actually, this is the one that doesn't have a 7th on it, but it's D major because of this F sharp, which is part of the dominant. And then E becomes E7 with a G sharp, which is like 5, 1 in the key of A minor. And then we get the actual 5, which goes back to 1. So 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. This progressive 5 1s really take us on a journey. Okay, so we're in C major. Let's just review. So first we go 5, 1 in the C major on storm tossed, 1 on demons, but now demons becomes a 5 of F, and then we leap down to D. D becomes a 5 of G, and then we leap down to E, and E becomes a 5 of A. And then we go back to G, and G is the 5 of C. So we're using the 5, 1 relationship on different pitches. 5, 1, G to C, 5, 1, C to F, 5, 1, D to G, 5, 1, E7 to A, 5, 1, G to C. This is a super fun way. So as the tune is going up and up and up and up and up, the bass is going up and up and up and up, and the intensity of the harmony resolutions is going up and up and up because of these repeated 5, 1 resolutions, but each one happens on a different level. First, the lower G to C, then C to F, then D to G, then E to A, and then G to C. So each of those is progressively getting higher and higher and higher and higher. So 3 elements here: the melody, the bass, and the 5, 1 resolution, each time getting higher and higher and higher. We really feel the emotional push and the C's rising with this motion. So that's more like 3 tips, but it's kind of one big tip all together with 3 parts. Rising the melody, rising the bass, rising the 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1 kinds of resolutions. And a rising tide lifts all boats and all hymns. Okay, so that's a fun little way to increase the intensity of the emotion in your music when you're having a drive to the climax. consider using this kind of 5-1 relationship on the regular 5-1, but also on other notes, which is what we call secondary dominance. We'll talk more about secondary dominance in other videos, but this is a taste of how effectively they can be used one after the other. For more tips like this, come over to latterdaymusiversity.com and get your free 24-page report called The 10 Commandments of Writing Warm, Fuzzy LDS Church Music. It's a bunch of tips about how you can improve the writing of your primary songs, hymn arrangements, and so on. Hope you enjoy this. Come back tomorrow where we'll look at hymn 106, God Speed the Right. See you then. Bye-bye.